Hello everyone, so these are the Ral Partha Aztecs that I was painting alongside the Conquistador, and they just took me a little bit longer to complete. There's a lot more detail on them and far more variation in colour and so on. So I'm putting them up as a separate video because I've only just finished basing them. Yeah, so first thing maybe to say is that Palmer from Heresy Productions has pointed out to me that you can in fact still get these figures via a company in the States called Iron Wind Metals. It looks as though from their website as though they're selling them as individual figures, whereas I acquired mine long ago in blister packs, and these figures that you can see here come from two separate blister packs. One of them was a pack described as Aztec Command, and the other pack was described as Aztec Generals. Now, in the blister pack for the Aztec Command, you got 4 figures, and 2 of them were these banner bearers that you can see there, and 2 of them were figures, identical figures blowing a conch. One is behind there and the other one is there. But as well as that, in the blister pack, you got a whole selection of different standards and the frame, the sort of wicker or wooden frame that goes on the back of the warriors, which would then carry the standards. As you can see, I haven't bothered to paint any of those up. The reason being that I suspect these are intended to attach to other figures that you have in your army. The figures that actually come in that blister aren't suitable to hold it, partly because 2 of them are already holding banners and they're wearing cloaks on their back, so there's no way you can attach the wooden frame to the back. And the other 2 figures are bare-chested, so again you can't put those wicker frames on the figures. So I think the intention was to upgrade some of the warriors you might have in your army to command figures by using these standards and banners. So I'm going to keep these to one side. They're always going to be handy, but I found there was far too much detail and far too much colour on these figures already to warrant putting any more on them. I could, if I'd wanted to, have attached them to some of the generals, I suppose, but as I say, there's already a lot of colour and a lot of detail there, and I didn't feel I thought I'd be cluttering them too much if I put any more on them. So I'm going to keep them back, and if I ever do get round to collecting an Aztec army, they're going to be useful for that, so I'll keep them in a bits box somewhere. Yeah, in the other pack, the generals, are 5 figures, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 figures, yeah. In that blister pack, they came with a whole, I'll put those in there as well, a whole choice of different weapons, spears and clubs and obsidian bladed clubs and so on. So again, there I suspect the Ral Partha put far more into the pack than you actually needed. So I picked some of the most suitable weapons that I thought matched the figures and used those. There's even an additional feather shield in there, so far more than you need. Anyway, so I did absolutely no real proper research. I didn't understand what I was painting in a lot of circumstances. I sort of guessed at colours. The only reference material I had was a supplement to the Field of Glory rules. It's called Blood and Gold, and it's the supplement for the New World and native armies in North and South America, and that contains quite a lot of photographs of painted models, and it also contains a lot of illustrations from old Osprey books. So I think it was enough. It's highly likely that I've painted these inaccurately in one way or another. In particular, this figure, I'll show you these in a bit more detail. Let's start by showing you them in detail with this base here. In particular, that figure in red there, I gave him black spots as well. I'm not at all sure now, confident that that is accurate. I painted all the feather shields with a sort of similar but not identical designs on them. Again, I don't know whether they would all have had uniform patterns on their shields or not, or they would have varied between one unit to another or one individual to another. The colours of the feathers and so on are all very contrived. I've no idea whether they actually had feathers of that appearance. There's one particular character. Let's see if I can find it. Which one is it? Yeah, this guy here. He's out of the General's pack, and his right hand was completely solid, whereas his left hand was open as though it was holding a weapon or a banner. So I'm not sure whether he's intended to be left-handed, but I've put his weapon in his left hand and the shield in his right, and that, to me, seems to sort of suit the model a lot better. But that's not something. Maybe I've made a mistake, I don't know, but that's not something you see very often in War Games figures. Is figures actually portrayed as being left-handed. So again, I may have made a mistake there. But I'm not displeased with the way they came out. I've put them all. I put them onto 3 bases, all 60mm square, so they're all command bases for a future army that I may or may not acquire. And same comment as with the Conquistador. I think they're very nice figures. Although they're very dated now, they stand up to comparison with a lot of current ranges. Lots of detail on them. They even have things like studs in their chins and piercings and things like that, so you could really go to town on them and go nuts with the painting if you wanted. I've kept it fairly plain and simple. I've given single colours to a lot of the ornament around their neck and chest and so on, but you could really go to town on that and paint it in multicoloured kind of appearances and so on. But yeah, that's another little group of figures out of my lead mountain, and as I say, it's probably too expensive to acquire these figures from what they called Iron Wind Metals, and get them shipped over the Atlantic. But in future years, who knows? I may look at getting an Aztec and a Conquistador army. I've enjoyed painting them. Anyway, that's enough waffling. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and see you on the next video. Bye for now.